Flosstube. My name is Becca and I'm SamBrie Stitches here on Flosstube and Instagram. And this is another special edition of Interview with the Flosstuber. I'm very, very excited to be here with my friend Heather. Her Flosstube channel is called Punky Purls. She's fairly new to Flosstube, but a great, great addition to our community. She is a very, very talented crafter. Not only does she stitch, she sews. I'm very envious. She has an Etsy shop, and I'll put all the links down below. But we'll get into all of her different crafts later in the interview. But she is just very talented. So I'm very excited to learn more about her today. So how are you doing today, Heather?
Pretty good. The allergies are kicking my bottom out here for some reason, but other than that, I'm doing pretty good.
Yep. We were just talking before the interview. I'm a little scratchy. You could tell my voice is very hoarse right now. But we're both in Washington State, so maybe there's something that has to do with, the pollen or something. Allergies are new for me, so hopefully we make it through the interview all right. All right, well, let's jump into some questions. The first one is, why did you start a Flosstube, and were there any particular motivations?
So I started my Flosstube back in October, and it was after watching Rocio from Kokohama Stitchery that she put out a video that said just do it kind of scenario. Mm-hmm. And so I said, well, I could do that. And I like the whole show and tell aspect, and I think it kind of motivates me to finish more projects. So that was my main motivation.
Nice. Yeah, I did watch that video. It was pretty cool that she put that out, because I think it helped quite a few of the newer Flosstubers kind of, jump in a little bit. So that was pretty neat. So the next question is just a subscriber question, and they were just wondering if you have a blog of any sort.
I do, but I haven't put anything in it for years. So when we were stationed in Oklahoma back in 2013 and 14, my husband was deployed, and we'll talk about my other crafts, but I wanted to do like the show and tell thing on there too. So I have a blog. It's the same thing, Punky Purls, but it's on WordPress. It hasn't been updated, but there's like recipes and my quilting and sewing and knitting, mostly my knitting and stuff.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, I'll link that down below, because people still like to go and check out that kind of stuff, and maybe you can get back into updating it.
I think it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. I think Instagram is more of like a instant gratification. I post it and I get the replies and the responses, and you see people seeing it better. So I like that. Yeah. It's just more instant gratification as that darn Instagram.
I've heard that. And Instagram's a lot easier too. That's why I don't have a blog. I just post it on there. The only thing that bothers me is when I try to go back to look at something that I did like last year, you have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll unless you use a certain hashtag or something to pull it back up. So that's the only thing. But maybe they'll put like a search engine or something in there. That would be kind of neat.
Or like folders, like a little tab where you can click on knitting or whatever, and cross stitch, and you just pick it up and you can say, oh yeah, I did that then.
Definitely. Well, hopefully they hear all of us, because there's quite a few people that are we've talked about that, where you've had to scroll and scroll. So it'll make life much easier for sure. So how did you learn to stitch, and how long have you been stitching?
So I was trying to think about this, and I remember home ec in like 6th grade, and they kind of taught you a little bit of everything. And I remember making a bookmark. I think that's the first cross stitch thing I ever made. But I have so many other crafts that wasn't just my main focus. And I think I really picked it back up again during the pandemic.
Yeah, I think a lot of stitchers actually picked it back up during the pandemic for sure. It helped many people through that crazy time.
I always like to say I have like crafter's ADD, so I get bored with a lot of things. So when I pick up something, I obsess about it for a while. And this is my new current obsession.
Love it. Well, hopefully it sticks for a little bit.
Right.
For some reason, stitching seems to be kind of the go-to craft for people who are like multi-craftables. They always end up going back to stitching.
I mean, I love it enough that I have a tattoo and it's on there. So I have been stitching like throughout my life enough to put it on my body. But
you have a cross. So do I. I have an.
I do. Well,
look,
I'll show you when we get together.
Yeah, because I was like, I have an arm of stitching stuff. That's so
oh my
cool.
gosh, mine is it's yarn and my quilting and a ruler and cross stitch down here by my elbow. Yeah,
very cool. We'll both have crafting arms, because that's my goal, is to have at least a half sleeve, because I have a half sleeve on this arm of family stuff and animals, so that's kind of cool. That's neat. So what is your favorite project that you've stitched so far?
So my mom retired last year, and it's not like a fancy project, but it is my favorite. I have a picture of it because I don't have it here. But I think what the reason why I loved it so much is because it was something for her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's it's
technology.
Gosh darn it. It's When Life Gives You Lemons by Stitch Rovia, and I ended up giving it to her for her retirement.
Oh wow, I love the Stitch Rovia patterns, like all the
Me
words.
Too.
Oh, they're so pretty.
So bright and cheery, and she loved it. She worked for the school district for 41 years, so I took 41 days to basically stitch that one.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I think that's why it's my favorite, because it's hers. Yeah.
Love it.
It's the meaning behind it. Not necessarily the actual stitch, because it's not like some fancy, elaborate, awesome sampler or something like that. But just the meaning behind it. And of course she cried, so.
Very good. That means it was very well received and it's going to be well loved. I love that. I love the pieces that have meanings behind them. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like I made something for my husband that I don't think I've really ever shown. It's up on the wall that I was looking at. And it's nothing, super fancy at all, but it has meaning behind it. So, that's kind of neat with our pieces for sure. Something to keep in the family. So what do you enjoy most about stitching?
I love everything about it except for visiting the frog pond. I don't like that part, but
I don't think any of us do.
It feels like I do that a lot more often. I don't know. Apparently I don't know how to count. But I love everything. The process. I like when I have an idea and then I know how I'm going to finish it. I like that. I like the Flosstube aspect and getting to know people. I like it all.
Yep. Yeah. It's such a great craft. It really is. And I think many of us have issues with the counting, even though we are counted cross stitchers. That's what makes your piece unique. Definitely.
Oh yeah. Or it goes in the naughty pile and I don't look at it for a while.
I do have a couple of those pieces actually in the naughty pile. Yeah. So we're going to get out of stitching a little bit, kind of get to know a little bit more about you. And this is, what's your favorite genre of book or movie?
So for movies, I love anything I grew up with. So like 80s and 90s movies, like The Karate Kid, Harry and the Hendersons, Overboard, Goonies, like all those. I can watch them over and over and over again. Books, I'm a little bit more sporadic, I guess. I like Janet Ivanovich, so it's like a comedy kind of thing. I like Dean Koontz, as murder and mystery.
I grew up reading Dean Koontz.
Right, and I like a good young adult, just easy read too. It just depends on what strikes me. I haven't been doing a lot of reading, but audiobook is always a good option as well. Yeah,
I was gonna ask if you did audiobooks or like physical books, but that way you could craft and get your books in.
Right, and I like, because radio, when you're driving in the car, radio's kind of junk now, so I'll put an audiobook on.
Yeah, I've discovered that too. We ended up subscribing to like Sirius, so that we can get like certain stations and stuff like that, because radio just doesn't play the greatest.
No, and if I do listen to the radio, it's like 80s or 70s, and they play the same songs over and over again, so I like to switch it up.
Yep, we do that too. We like the 80s. I like some of the 90s, classic rock, my old country, like the old, country kind of thing. Yeah, that's good stuff. Definitely good stuff. And movies like Labyrinth and Princess Bride and all that stuff. I love
Willow. Oh, I watched Willow the other day with my kids. It's one
Actually,
of my favorite.
I just started rewatching. I think Willow's on one of the streaming apps. It
I
might be
want to
Netflix.
say Disney
One of
Plus.
them, yeah. Because I just started it and then I ended up not finished watching it, but I have to
I
pick
love
back
it.
up again. Yeah, that's a good
I
one.
could watch or like Overboard and Big and Goonies and Kindergarten Cop. I don't know. Weird stuff that we grew up with.
Kindergarten Cop. So funny story on that, actually. I think it was Kindergarten Cop when Arnold Schwarzenegger was filming down at the coast in Oregon. Yeah. So I was little and my parents took a trip down there and I got to meet him as a kid. I don't remember a whole lot of it, but I just remember how huge he was. But my dad was like freaking out. That was like the coolest
my dad would
thing.
probably freaked out back then too.
It was pretty cool. It was at the school. It was at like they were filming. I think it was at the school that they were filming at or something like that. I don't remember,
by the Goonies house. We went and visited when we went to go visit the Goonies house. It's down the way from there. And
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, that just brought back memories. That was pretty neat. All right, where are we at? What fictional place would you most like to go to?
So this one was a hard one for me. And I know a lot of people say like Hogwarts and all those things, but I'm kind of boring. I would say Central Perk from Friends. I just want to sit and people watch and drink coffee and stitch and just hang out and gossip.
I think I'm right there with you. And actually that's funny too, because Friends was like my obsession in high school. My group of friends, we were the Friends group. So we like
I just rewatched it with my daughter back in the beginning of this whole nonsense. Oh my gosh, she was obsessed too. It's kind of one of those shows you can watch over and over.
Yeah, it's timeless. It's so good. Oh my gosh, I would love that. I didn't even think about that. Just going and just sitting in with your friends group and just kind of like hanging out. I would love that.
Well, and I asked my husband, I was like, there's this question and I don't know. Everybody says Hogwarts. Yeah, that'd be cool. I don't want to go back to school. I just did that.
Yeah.
I just want to be nosy and hang out with people and
and relax.
And drink coffee.
Love it. Love it. That's perfect. And that's a unique answer because a lot of people do say Hogwarts or some of the other popular ones, Gilmore Girls. That kind of stuff.
That'd be a fun one too. Or like Cheers, the bar and Cheers. I would love to hang out there too.
Yes. That would be so cool.
Yeah.
It was funny because where were we at? My husband every Saturday will come and take me to lunch on my lunch break. And we went to Five Guys. Speaking of Cheers, it kind of reminded me. Went to Five Guys, and this lady walks in as we're sitting at the table, and she had placed an order or something, and they had asked her name, and then everybody yells, "Valerie's here!" And I immediately thought of Cheers, which was funny.
I started watching that. I never watched it as a kid or younger. I just started watching it now. I was like, that'd be a fun place to hang out at.
Yeah, it definitely would. The lady was like, "Oh wow, that was pretty cool." I'm like, "Hey Valerie." She walked by to go wait for her food. But yeah, it was pretty cool. That just reminded me of Cheers. So that was kind of funny you said that. So if you could choose to do anything for a day, what would it be?
So I'm pretty easy with that one too. And in fact, my husband has left to go to school and I don't have to do anything. And Saturday he called and video chatted me. He's like, "You're in your happy place." And I was like, yeah, I was totally in here in my pajamas and just did all the things. I touched all my projects and that was just, I needed it. Mm-hmm. And I think I would like to do that more often. So it's pretty simple. Just hang out and sew or quilt or stitch or anything.
And just not have to work and not have to clean or anything like that. Just spend a whole day. Yeah, that would be nice.
I didn't have to do that. Entertain him or anything like that. He was just sitting on my phone. I was like, hope the sewing machine's not loud. And I just was sewing away.
But you are still spending time together. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
For sure. That's kind of like me and my husband. We have I'm downstairs right now. So we have a big family room. And this is his side that I'm on right now. And he'll sit and play Warcraft on the TV. And then I'm at the other end in my stitchy area with my couch, and we're still in the same room, but we're kind of doing our own thing.
Right.
Love it.
It's kind of like what happens here too. I think when I'm in my room, he doesn't really come in here very often. He'll pull up my rocking chair and sit in here sometimes. But sometimes I'll go, you want to watch a movie? It's like, if I could stitch, he'll be like, yeah, go ahead. So we'll sit out in the living room and hang out, and I just have to keep my hands busy.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think that's all of us crafters. We just have to, keep our mind and our hands busy for sure.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get into your other crafts. Do you have any other crafts or hobbies?
What crafts don't I have? It's like, I mean, you can kind of see
from your Instagram.
Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, and you can kind of see it here. So I have my loom there. I have my spinning wheel there. I have my ukulele there. I have my watercolor paintings there. Quilting, sewing, photography, anything. I don't think I've met a craft I didn't like.
Wow, that's impressive. I
love it all.
That gets crazy because there's probably rabbit holes for each, craft, and then going down that is,
Well, and like I said before, it's like I'll obsess about it and then I get tired of it. So then I'll move to another thing. And I noticed on my Instagram feed, like it'll tell you, hey, you were doing this a year ago. It's kind of funny. I'm doing the same craft at the same season. So like this summer, I'll probably be English paper piecing. Don't ask me why, but for the last couple summers, that's what I was doing.
That's what you do?
Mm-hmm.
It's like an internal clock that you just
I think
realize.
So. It's so weird. Something like knitting is definitely during winter. It's weird. I don't know.
Very cool. I would love to do other crafts. I just started the wool applique, and that is it's an expensive hobby. So.
Well, and I'm staring at wool right now, and once I got online with you, I was like, I should try that.
I just got some kits from Buttermilk Basin, and they're like pre-cut wool, felt, and all that kind of stuff. But there's PDF patterns right on Etsy. Or, I mean, if you paint and draw or whatever, anyways, you could just make your own. Because that's basically what it is. When I bought the PDF pattern off of Etsy, it was somebody's hand-drawn pieces. Like the shamrock one that I made, it was somebody just drawing a shamrock, and I just cut it out. So.
And you can probably print just clip art and use free clip art too.
Well, that's what I did for the peeps. It was a coloring page.
Oh, right.
It off. Yeah. And then you just do it that way. So super easy. It's just buying the wool felt. That's the expensive part.
Well, and I kind of want to try punch needle. Have you tried that yet?
I have not, but I found a punch needle kit at Goodwill. So I have like the punch needle and I have all that. I just haven't tried it yet.
I don't know. Now, like, when you watch like Flosstubers and all their things, I was like, oh, I want to do that too.
Yep. Yep. I don't know. Because it's been sitting there. I might try it. I mean, there's some cute punch needle kits. Like, I'm a big Teresa Kogut and her punch needle.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why I want to try it, because it's like, that looks so cool. I don't know what I would do with a finished piece, but just looks like fun.
Yeah. I mean, you could still finish it kind of the same way you do stitching, I would think. Yeah. Maybe we could try that.
Maybe we should try.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? Add it to the list.
Yeah, right. So this is another fun one. And it's, how would your friends describe you?
So when you sent me the questions, I know what I would say about me. And I thought they were going to say the same thing, but they put it nice and tactful. I would say bossy and opinionated, but all of them said crafty, obviously. And they said determined, loyal. They were really nice. They said loyal, caring, those kind of things. And I put and bossy, and they're like, oh yeah, and that too.
And that too, but you had to say it first.
Yeah, I was like, oh, because I asked my husband, and he was super sweet, of course, he better be. And then I asked my best friend, and I was like, okay, y'all said kind of the same things in a nice way. So I liked it. It was cute.
Well, that's good. They're all very good traits. They definitely are. And then bossy people need to be in the world too, because there are people that, need to be told.
Well, and it was more like they put, don't take people's crap and that kind of thing.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, definitely. That's great. Um, so back into stitching a tiny bit, and it's, how do you prefer to stitch? Do you use a hoop, a Q-snap, scroll frame, something like that?
I use it all, and it depends on the project. So I prefer stitching in hand most of the time. But I have Q snaps, like 1/1. I'll use a Q snap or a hoop.
Mhm.
I have a scroll frame for like a bigger piece. I started a Nora Corbett, so I'll probably use it for that when the beading comes. So I have all the things, but my go-to quick grab and go is just stitching in hand.
Stitching in hand. Yeah. I can't do that. I like my Q-snaps, but
Yeah.
do you use the sewing method then since you stitch in hand? Is that kind of how
Yes.
you do it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think because I have a lap stand too, which I love. I
Mhm.
two hand stitch, so
Yep.
I like that as well. It just depends on the project.
Yeah, that does make sense, I guess. Yeah. Do you have like a preferred fabric that you lean towards for stitching?
I like even weave or like a Lugana or a Monaco, something like that. I do like linen, but it can't be too slubby. It messes with my brain.
Right.
Um, and I stitch on Ada as well. I'm doing a dimensions kit. I don't know if you saw the video, but I'm making that wreath in remembrance of my
Yep.
grandma, and that's on Ada as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the dimensions kits, the kits usually come with Ada for the fabric. So
Well, and before
that's cool.
Flosstube, I didn't realize there was other fabrics. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it helps open up a whole new world. And I get a lot of people because I only stitch on Ada and typically only 18 count. So I'll get a lot of people that comment on like the fabric colors and stuff that I use because they did not realize that Ada comes in beautiful hand dyed, pieces.
yeah, and I'm used to like the Ada when we were growing up. That stiff, hard,
Stiff. Yep.
touch your fingers
Yep.
on the edge, like.
Yep. Yep. It's still out there, but the hand dyed world for just fabric in general is amazing compared to years ago. So
Right.
yeah, Flosstube really helps open up a whole new world for people when it comes to stitching and any other craft really. um it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
Yes.
So do you have a favorite place that you've traveled, and did you bring stitching or any craft really along when you went?
So for my 40th birthday, I just dated myself. Not last year, but the year before. I went to England, Scotland, and Wales with my mom and my best friend. And we took a bus tour. It was 7 days, and we made the big loop. I stitched at the time, but I didn't bring stitching with me. I brought knitting. I can't stitch in a car or a bus.
Okay.
But I can knit because I don't have to look down. So
Yep.
I did bring knitting. But when I went to my mom's retirement back in September, I brought stitching for that. So I always have to have something. But that was an
Yeah,
awesome trip.
you need to bring uh something, to keep your hands busy and stuff when traveling.
Especially when
You
you're
didn't
sitting
really
in that
date
bus.
yourself because I think we're about the same age, but what I did for my 40th is my husband took me to Threadneedle Street for my first time visiting there. That was my 40th birthday.
Oh
So
my gosh.
we'll get to revisit my 40th birthday when we get together.
Well, I'm excited. Well, and remember, I think I messaged you and I told you I was planning on going to Oregon for my anniversary. My husband and I hit 20 years next month. Of course, the Army has other things. You put it out in the universe and the Army says, no,
Yeah.
you're not. But we were
Yeah.
going to go to Acorns and Threads, and that was going to be my anniversary trip.
Nice. It's definitely worth it. Yeah.
I might still go and celebrate my anniversary by myself. Who knows?
Yeah. I'll go to Acorns with you. I'm
Perfect.
down. Yeah.
You'll be my
I do
date.
trips. We'll celebrate your anniversary together. But no, I totally get that because my husband was in the military. He's retired now, but anytime we try to make plans or anything like that, it was like, oh, I now have duty, or oh, now I have to go away or whatever. So I totally get it. I totally understand. And it
It's
sucks,
like,
but
once you put it in the universe, you should just know that it's not going to happen.
mm-hmm.
And I think not in a bad way, but the Army's kind of made me a pessimist. So you kind of just like let it roll off your back. You're like, whatever, we'll go another day. We'll do another time, or I'll go by myself.
Yeah. And see, and that's good because it used to really get to me. And I think I was the same way, towards the end of his time in is just no control over it. So, it'll happen when it happens.
Right.
It sucks, and thank your husband for his service, and
I will.
being a military wife, I totally get it. It's a hard job. It really is. So it makes us stronger too.
Well, yeah, I agree.
But yeah, definitely Acorns trip. That sounds fun. I was supposed to go, actually, I was supposed to go, I think last week or this week, one of the two. I had plans to go, and it just got postponed. So definitely needed, because it's been a while since I've been down there. So where are we at? Because we just get to chatting. What I was like losing my place with my questions. What can you not do without for your stitching? Like besides the fabric, the floss, and like your needle, your favorite go-to?
I have two things. I don't really prefer paper patterns, so I can't live without Pattern Keeper. So otherwise I don't have a pattern, or I don't have a chart to look off of. And then also, once you start using a magnifying light, you can't do without it. And I like my Halo Go.
I have that too, the same one.
Yes, I love it. It's perfect. I take it everywhere.
Yep. And it holds a charge too. That's the nice thing.
For a long time.
Yeah. I love that one. Definitely. I have like just like a big bag that my husband got me, and it fits in there, and my lap stand goes with me everywhere. Even if I'm getting an oil change, my lap stand goes.
They just called me to get a recall on my car right before we started this. And they're like, can we make an appointment for you? It's like, yeah, do I have to sit there? And she's like, well, you can. No, I'll sit there. I'll sit there and stitch is what I'm going to do. They don't think I'm crazy. I'll sit there all day. I don't care.
Nope. I have the full setup. No joke. Especially for car appointments. Doctor's appointments, not so much, because the waiting room is, less, but car appointments, lap stand, my light, and then I'm just sitting there stitching, and my iPad, because I do the same thing, except I have an iPad, so I use Good Notes or Goodread, whatever it's called.
Right.
And all my patterns, I put all my patterns on there, because I don't stitch off of a paper pattern either.
Me neither. It's too hard. I lose spots. Yeah. I don't highlight on my copies, so it's good to have that.
Yep, 100%. I do the same thing. So it's much easier. So that's why I got a little iPad mini. So that it's, small, compact, and it can go everywhere. So I'll have my full setup.
Perfect.
How do you decide on what you're going to work on next for your projects?
So over the last year, I've learned that I like to join all the things, like all the March Madness, Jolly July, all those kind of things. But I also notice I get tired of trying to stick with that. I don't know. So it's kind of, I know it's a bad answer, but I start out real good, and then I stitch whatever the heck I want.
Yep. I tried that with Mania, and it's the same thing. Like I tried it with the wheel.
I'd be spinning that thing until, nope, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, nope, that's what I did. I gave up on it after, I want to say I didn't even make it a whole week. Because it was like, I don't want to stitch on that. So it's the same thing. I think it's much easier to just stitch on kind of what calls to you. I think with all the interviews I've done, there's only been like a handful of people that have like a schedule that they stick to, and it works for them, on like a rotation or something. But the majority of us are just stitch on whatever. So yeah, it makes things much easier. So we are down to the last question. And I kind of changed this one up a little bit. I sent you the new change, but I changed it to like, what's the best thing that has happened to you within the past couple of years? Makes it easier. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because the past year, who knows? We haven't really done much. Past couple of years, I would have to say graduating and getting my AA. So it took me a long time to do that. I went to school like right out of high school, and it was more to get away from my parents. And I was like, just get me out of this place. And as an adult, I appreciated it more, the work that you have to put in to get that thing. So I plan on going again to get my bachelor's in the fall. But I would say getting my AA after 22 years of not going to school.
Hey, there are plenty of people. I haven't even got an associate. So I would love to go back to school. So be proud of that for sure. Definitely. I'm proud of my daughter. She's going to be graduating after the spring semester, I think, with her bachelor's. So it's pretty awesome. She's like, I think one of the first in the family besides my sister. So be proud of that because it's a lot of work.
Well, and my husband, I
how
think
long it takes.
Part of my motivation was my husband was active duty for 15 years and then he got out and he went to school, and he wasn't a school guy when he was younger. So watching him go to school and get his associates and then his bachelor's, like, it kind of put a fire under me. Like, well, why can't I do that too? So that was kind of nice. And then my two boys, I have two boys that are seniors in high school, and my middle son, he's going to be graduating high school with an AA too. So it's kind of like,
Nice.
I feel like I set that help to like put in their brain like education is needed, and that's at least what he told me. Hey mom, you did it, so I'm gonna do it too. Cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That has to make you feel so good too.
Well, and next year he's gonna be going to Western, so it's exciting.
That's so cool. My daughter almost ended up at Western. That's awesome. Love it. Western's a really, really good school. I looked into that right at the end of high school, but then I got married at 19. So, been married ever since, but college just didn't happen. Kids happen.
Right.
So.
And then you have babies and you have life, and you have military. Yep. I tried going back to school when we were stationed in Oklahoma, and then he got deployed. It's like so much other stuff gets piled on your plate. And I think that was the right time for me to go because my kids are big. They do everything in the house, and I just had to focus on going to work and then going to school. And they were taken care of either by themselves or their dad, and I didn't have to worry about it.
Nice. It's perfect timing. Yeah. Who cares how long it takes? Just be proud that it's getting done. That's awesome. That really is. Maybe someday for me. We'll see. I don't know.
Even if you take like one class to knock it off your to-do list. It can take forever, just one class.
Yeah, that's true. I might look into it. We'll see. But this was a blast. We got off on so many tangents, but I hope everybody enjoyed it. And thank you so much for taking time out of your day for the interview. I know we were both feeling kind of under the weather, so it still seemed like we had a great time chatting. So
yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we'll say bye to everybody on Flosstube.